I'm Ross Chastain. You're listening to 10 Radio.
Hey,
you did
Welcome.
it.
Welcome. Hey, this isn't our first time trying this, but we are devoted to quality here at 10 Radio, and we're so glad that you're here. My name is Honorary Boomer, and I'm joined by
my name is Dan.
DannTheMan and Hunter.
Hi.
Howdy, howdy. So we are all from the Central Time Zone, but kind of all over the place. So that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, we're definitely in the superior time zone.
Right? The best time zone.
It is. It is the ideal time zone.
I agree.
I was at Indy, and we'll jump into lap 10 here, and I forgot that Indianapolis is actually in the Eastern time zone. I don't know if it's just jealous of Ohio. I'm not sure why it would be, but they just had to join the Eastern time zone. Really threw me for a loop.
You're not normally
it is odd. Here's a really fun fact, Jordan, that we learned over the weekend to crisscross that. We are in the first Central Time Zone off of the Eastern Time Zone. Jordan is
on the far west end, the last side of it there. So we're in, and Dan is probably as far south as you can get.
Yeah,
I hear about it. It's so sad and sorry down here.
Yeah, I hear there are some ice storms in Austin.
That would be better than what we have now. It is about 700 degrees. The air conditioner's gone out. Like we're right into the brief of atomic summer down here in Houston.
Oh no, that's some bad news.
We're in stormy weather.
Yeah, well, speaking of stormy weather, that's what they had for this year's Indy 500, tied for the fourth coldest Indy on record.
Yes.
And it had some rain delay again this year. There was concern that maybe Kyle was going to have to dip out early, but luckily that did not happen.
And it got pretty chilly during the race this year, I will say.
It did. I packed shorts because I thought I'd be good, but as a South Dakotan, hard, warm-blooded. But it turned out to be good that I brought a jacket.
Yeah, you have a tendency to completely
underpack.
Yes, yeah, underpack or just completely unprepared. When
he
came down for Texas Motor Speedway, I remember him calling me and he's like, "Hey, you think I need a big coat or you think a jacket will be okay?"
I wasn't sure. It was kind of late in the year, almost early winter. And
no, you don't understand. Atomic summer doesn't end until August.
I guess not.
Exactly.
Not in Texas.
No, not in Texas.
Yeah, learned a lot that summer. But yeah, I mean, as far as the Indy 500, this was my first Indy. How many times have you been down there, Hunter?
This was my second time.
Second time. So
first time turn 2, second time backstretch infield.
Oh yeah.
And backstretch outfield for a couple laps. As I didn't know, the other part of the golf course that sits on the backstretch on the outside also has general admission viewing areas.
Oh.
I had no clue that you could watch the race from the outside of the track on the backstretch, but you can.
Interesting. I wish I knew that. I was kind of on the backstretch area. But anyway, we were in the northwest Vista, northeast Vista, right there at turn 3. Okay, turn 3. That was us, and I liked it. It was good. I feel like they used the same elementary school children that Iowa used for marking their seat numbers. They just had a field trip and gave all of the children a sticker and said, "Okay, find a seat on the bench and put your sticker down."
Yep, basically.
It's tight. It is very tight. And
yes,
as the average American grows, it's going to be tough to fit people in there,
Yes, it is shoulder to shoulder come race time.
And that it is. And then I find out that they have these seat back things that they rent to you for $15.
Yeah.
Yeah. That extends backwards into the next person's seating area. So if you need to get out, to use the restroom, you're like losing your knees here, trying to not bump up against the person that's in your row, but then also not hitting the person that's in front of you that's got this seat protector that sticks out back behind the row there. I mean, I don't know. It was tight, and I may have bumped a few of those seat protector things, and I almost didn't feel bad because I'm like, you're stretching back into this row here. Stay in your own row.
They paid $15 to inconvenience you.
They sure did. And you know what? They paid $15 for these seat back protectors that were purchased in 1976 from the looks of things.
Exactly. They are the oldest things ever. They even sit in the oldest carts ever. I swear to God.
Yeah.
They've got to be from 1983 or something.
The worst part is that they're like metal framed,
Yeah.
Like they still sell
hurt.
these. They sell these things now, but they're like padded. They're like padded foam with like straps that go between the seat back and the bottom.
Yeah.
I would have preferred they just sell those for $25 and you just get to keep them. Just take them home with you, But they bought that can of spray paint in 1976 and they spray painted on there, rented, not sold, on every single one of those seat back protectors. And so they have made their money tenfold. To sneak one out. I'm sure nobody cares. To be honest with you, I think I probably could have, with that crowd hunter. I feel like I could have, driven one of the cars out in the crowd and be like, "Yep, this is my car now."
Oh, I can only imagine like the rush of people trying to get out after the race is over. I can only imagine.
It is unbelievable.
It's a nightmare.
Unbelievable.
So, me and Dad had it lucky. So I'll give a little flashback story. First time I went to the Indy 500, we sat at the top of turn 2 in the deck. I had some extra money. I paid for some nice tickets. Yeah, go ahead and get comfortable after the race, though, because you are not leaving that deck after the race for approximately an hour and a half. This year, we were in the infield. The infield actually clears out a little early during the race. It was pretty open to roam around. We had no problem getting out. We had a little stoppage at the tunnel at Pit Road. But other than that, we made it out pretty quickly.
Well, that's exciting. How about traffic? Because you guys got out of there a lot faster than we did. We ended up going about 3.5 miles. And we ended up, because they kept pushing us north. Like we were on the north side of the track is where we were camped. That's the only place that we could camp. And so when you get out of the parking lot, they immediately make you turn left and then make you turn right and then make you go straight all the way. And we just kept going straight. We ended up sitting there for 2 hours and we averaged out 0.8 miles per hour over those 2 hours. And, I mean, we got to a point where we found a left turn lane onto a side street somewhere. And so we just took that, not really knowing what we were doing. Took another left, and then ended up on this street that we had passed where they would not allow anybody to turn left. We tried to turn left at one point into a Mexican restaurant, and this guy was there, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, officer's orders, nobody's allowed to turn in here." So, a little bit of frustration there where it's like, hey, just I want some amount of, because there are people that live south of there too. You can't just assume that everybody's going to go to Chicago. I mean, think of the traffic that you're going to shovel onto that northbound interstate. Yep. That's not good. I mean, we want some amount of, do you want to go north, south, east, or west? And if you can just start putting those boards up early, start getting the message out early. Hey, left lane must turn left and is going to go west. Hey, perfect. That's all us. Let's do that. But
yeah, it's odd. Me and Dad got out this year because we parked right off the interstate, basically.
That's what you got to do, really. And then
we got lucky, and someone let us in pretty much right off the bat, and we just kind of worked our way over.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we are going to use that guy's yard again in the future. It was $20. Yeah, it's a few miles from the track. Peaceful little walk through the neighborhood, so then right through the middle of the town near there.
Yeah, Speedway, Indiana
was
easy
entry, easy exit.
Good folks in Speedway, but I tell you what, the whole town shuts down for the Indy 500, including the church.
Ah.
So be aware of that. I learned that the hard way.
I told you.
You did, but their website didn't tell me until the day before. So, you know, it is what it is. But that was kind of interesting. Overall,
Hey.
I mean, I feel, I almost feel like I've heard from some people, Craig, that that NASCAR is slow. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, and they say, yeah, you know, Indy goes 230, 240 ish. And that's too fast. That's too fast. I'm not seeing any of the passing going on. You know, I'm not really seeing a whole lot of the cars. I can't get pictures of the cars, that's for sure.
Dude,
You know?
I need to get my camera. Oh my god, I got some panning shots of cars.
Yeah.
My camera's been in Dad's car all week. We got back at like 3 a.m. It's been an off week. But
Yeah.
I'm also announcement, possibly if I get off of work in time, going to the truck race tomorrow night in Asheville.
Ooh, exciting.
I have obtained some tickets to it, so all gonna
Very
depend.
cool.
Might not. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I suppose we don't probably have much more to talk about with the Indy 500 other than go Pillow. You know, hashtag nap time. I always say Corey Heim is Heim time. I feel like with Pillow, it should be nap time with Pillow, you know. I don't know. Maybe that'll catch on. Maybe we'll start selling some t-shirts. But Craig was very upset that Pillow won because he wins all the races.
Yep.
Which is, you know, the start of a dynasty. Way to go, guy.
I do have one thing to end the IndyCar off on.
What do you got?
This is just something that me and Dad, it just tickles us to death. So me and Dad have attended 5 IndyCar events. 2 of those events have been won by Marcus Ericsson, and the other event he finished second in prior to his disqualification and almost won. And me and Dad, like, we always joke about this because the first time we saw Ericsson won, at the start of the race, he literally flew through the air. And it's like anytime he goes to perform good, me and him are at the racetrack. It's just great. We love it. We kind of become his fan. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. How can you not after seeing that?
So anytime we're at the track, it's just like it's go time for him. It's great to see.
For sure. Well,
I was rooting for him on the last lap. Actually, I really was.
How'd he turn out? I didn't catch where he landed.
A second prior to disqualifying.
Oh, in this race was second before getting disqualified.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Shoot, man. That's too bad. You'll have to go back again, see if you can get watch him win 3 times.
Let's see.
All right.
Dan,
well,
did you watch the Indy 500?
I did not watch the Indy 500.
That's okay.
I haven't been tracking a lot of what's going on.
Do you remember meeting either of these guys? McDowell. Where did you meet McDowell at? Was that at Atlanta?
I believe, yes, it was at Atlanta.
Yeah.
That I met
and then Ross Chastain never met Ross.
Don't believe I ever met. Don't think I ever met Ross Chastain.
I tell you what, we took a couple weeks off here at the Tennego Radio shop. So in the meantime, Kansas weekend, we were there. Myself, my fiance, our niece, and my dad. And, our niece doesn't really have a favorite driver, or didn't before. Started her out with some McDowell gear, and she always called him M&M because Michael McDowell, and so the M&M guy. And people always go, "Oh, Kyle Busch." No, not Kyle Busch. But after this, now she found out with Ross being a watermelon farmer that he likes watermelon. So now she's a Ross Chastain fan, which was cool. She ended up drawing something for him, and and so he really liked that. She was able to give that to him on the second day that we were there. We were walking into the track, and this guy goes, "Hey, I see you got a Ross shirt on. Here's a wristband to go meet him." And we were like, what? No way. And then we ended up buying some stuff and got a second wristband. And so we got some stuff signed. And that's when I got that intro video. And so that was pretty cool that he was willing to do that for us.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Absolutely. So yeah, we ended up meeting McDowell right after he did Family Feud. Kansas Speedway.
Family Feud.
Yeah, it's coming. Keep an eye on the channel. I need to do some editing.
I'm gonna have to watch that episode.
It is pretty cool. I really liked it. They ended up going around NASCAR, went around the campgrounds and asked people questions, and then used those answers in their Family Feud. And and then McDowell and Priest. No, who was it? Either the driver of the 60 car, which would be Priest, or it was another RFK guy. It wasn't Chris Buescher. It wasn't, so it had to be Priest then. Anyway,
either that or Brad.
It wasn't Brad.
That would have been a cool one, though. Me and Dad would have loved that.
Yeah, I know, right? But they had one fan from the audience of that driver, and then the driver, and so like McDowell was like, "Go ahead," to his fan to start him off, and they huddle and go, "Oh, what do you think it is?" I don't know. Well, then we'd like to guess this. What are you going to lose at the racetrack? That was one of the things. Your phone, wallet, keys. They
wallet,
grouped those
phone.
They grouped those together. So keys, wallet, phone was one answer, and it was the number one answer. But
was there one that said virginity, please?
No.
Dang.
If there was, they would have probably just nixed that. We're just gonna not include that answer.
I wish they would have, though, just for the fun of it. For the fun of it.
So in other news, we were able to see McDowell there, which was really cool because it was right before qualifying. Like that event had run long, and we were trying to get a family photo with McDowell while he was on the ground and not in a trailer. And we did get a really cool picture with him. So I really appreciate that. We had some stuff to sign, and I was like, just hold on to that. We'll see him later in the weekend. We'll sign it later. But and we did. We got everything signed that we wanted to. McDowell's really cool about that. In fact, his signature is right there above Thomas.
Ooh.
So anyway, they were both really cool about that. We ended up seeing Ross at his trailer and then also at the Drive to Zero. So they had wristbands for the people that got to Drive to Zero early, and then they had a line for people that weren't there early. And Ross was able to stick around for both lines, but he was able to leave. Like Drive to Zero is an effort by it's multiple states, but Kansas is part of it. Driving to zero deaths on the road. So, if we can make people more safe, buckle up, no drunk driving, no distracted driving, slow down, all those things lead to
make driving
our
so
Drive
boring.
to Zero. I know, but boring is safe and safe is boring. So, keep the excitement on the track.
Okay.
That's all I really have to say about that. I just wanted to mention being able to meet both of those guys. So that was
nice right there.
That was
Bubba
cool.
Wallace.
We're jumping right into lap 8 here, folks, with Bubba Wallace on Sesame Street. Okay. I don't know a lot about this.
Wait, what? I missed the chapter somewhere. I'm not gonna lie, I missed something.
Yeah, he was over here chilling with Elmo.
Yeah, 2311. 2311 had that out. Let me see if I can pull that up here. And share it. How about that?
My phone is on charge, Jordan. You do not have to. I can take your word for it.
No, I've got it here. Share screen.
You're gonna make me get up from my futon to watch this.
That's okay. Okay, so here it is.
Yeah, this is show business, buddy.
Okay.
All right, let's see it.
What'd you think of that?
Well, you didn't show anything. You didn't show anything.
What?
No, we just out here looking at your ugly mug, and you're like, "What do you think about that?"
Oh no! It said it was sharing. I'm so sorry.
It is not.
I'm so
sharing.
sorry. let me present a. Hang in there, folks. Hang in there,
Yeah,
folks.
no, we're gonna have to edit all this.
We're not editing anything. All right.
We are.
So
I'm
share
not, you
that,
are.
and then I have to add the stage. That's the difference. Okay, now you can see.
Okay.
There we go.
And now we don't have volume. There we go.
Hello, how are you?
Doing great. Did you have a good time today?
I had a blast. How did I do?
Wonderful. Can you come back tomorrow?
Absolutely.
Sounds good. See you then.
See you then.
Is Bubba and Elmo in a loving relationship?
No, he said friend Bubba Wallace. So
Uh-huh.
yeah. So
But it always starts out as.
okay. Well, so anyway, in other news, let's not speculate about that.
It's a solid joke.
Hopefully, we can get some young NASCAR fans out there with this crossover. What do you think about that? I mean, of all the teams that would be willing to make this crossover, 2311 seems pretty up there.
I think it's smart. think
I
you
don't
can
buy
get them
into it.
when they're young. That's how you build a lifelong fan. of
For
the sport.
sure.
That is exactly
Yeah.
how. And I
The thing
agree
is
with
that
that.
NASCAR is a sport that needs it a ton because I mean the demographic generally runs older. Like we're kind of like new gen, and there's not a ton of us
Right.
that are watching the sport. And so if you can get them in when they're real young and like build them up on the culture of it, that's really the strat. That's the way to do it.
For sure. And now we've got NASCAR 25 coming out towards the end of the year. Hopefully that'll bring in some younger fans, maybe a little bit older than Sesame Street, but a little bit younger than the old guys out there.
If you're
Do you
asking
think?
me,
Do you think it'll be worth?
that's
Do you
how
think
you
it'll be
get
worth
it.
the hype? Do you think 25 will be worth the hype?
I think so.
Yes.
I really do, because of what they've been releasing for their dev diaries. I mean, it really looks promising.
There's
So.
a reason that iRacing has the NASCAR license for computer games.
We're gonna have to get Hunter some way to play that so that the three of us can play
I'll have a next gen
all
by that
together.
point.
There we go. See, so problem solved. By the end of the year, Dan, you're gonna have to get NASCAR 25 when it comes out, and we'll all play.
I do. And I have a next gen console I can play the thing on.
Hey, there we go.
Let's go.
So I suppose that's probably all we have to say about Bubba Wallace on Sesame Street. I will say Prime, this was Prime's first race, was the Coke 600, and they did okay on viewership, 2.7 instead of 3 million, but their demographic dropped to 56, almost a 10-year drop in average viewer age. So really awesome to see that. A lot of younger fans getting in there. They even promoted it on Amazon.com.
Oh,
Like
that's
you
cool.
went to Amazon to buy some socks. You're like, oh, what's the Coca-Cola 600?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll watch.
Yeah, I think it's smart for them to just make the races more accessible.
Absolutely.
Promote them where the young people
Yeah,
are.
you're gonna have people that fight the system always, because you're gonna have your old farts that always know the old ways, the way it's been for 30 years.
You know, like,
But as everyone
cable
knows,
television.
exactly. Everyone knows times change, stuff shifts, stuff gets different,
Absolutely.
The way of things changes, and
gotta
it's just
adapt.
changing, and you're gonna lose some of those people. But honestly, if it helps gain a younger audience for the future, are you losing a real difficult piece here?
That's my question to you, is how hardcore are these hardcore fans? Because if they're, I've been watching for 40 years. Are you coming to any races? Because I am.
Mhm.
Are you buying any
Exactly.
merch? Because I am. You know?
Exactly.
I mean, so work with me a little bit. Work with the fans that are getting out there, that are a part of the sport in more ways than just, I've been watching since I was 7 years old. Okay, good for you. So glad. And
The person nowadays that's traveling to your average NASCAR race that's not a very local person, I'll go ahead
Right.
and say that the locals get an excuse to any of this right here, is they are tech savvy enough to know that they probably want to get a streaming service plan.
or ask your grandson.
Yeah.
Or ask your nurse.
Yeah.
I
mean,
one
literally-
complaint.
What? Sorry.
One complaint that I thought was actually valid was like the people that go to a bar, which I'm like, yeah, but I mean, Bars
I'll
gotta catch
give
on.
that one a pass. I
I think it's
will
fine.
give that
But
a
you go to the
pass.
bar just to watch the race?
I mean, but the bartender, tell me they don't have a Roku. You know, what are they watching their TV on? I mean, is it straight in cable? Is it not a smart TV? Do you not have Prime Video on that TV?
Exactly.
You know, what
What's the
bar are
last
you
time the
going
TV
to,
was
sir?
replaced?
Go to a new
2007?
bar. Exactly.
Going
It's
to
not
the bar that I've
2007
been
anymore.
going to for 37 years.
Ever since I turned
I watched
21,
that.
I've been going to Darley's bar.
Mhm.
Okay, well,
I've been watching
Well.
races at Thurley's for 37 years, Jordan.
you know, tell them to go to Walmart and get a $300 TV, slap it on the wall, and it'll have
You know
internet.
what? You're probably such a regular. Just take it up the tip jar. They'll probably thank you later.
Honestly, just buy it for them, mount it, and then tell them to
Exactly.
bar tab. No,
Are you
D-
gonna go
don't
mount a
even
bunch of old folks TVs?
here's my receipt. You know, take it off my bar tab, would you? Thanks.
don't even tell them you're going to go do it. Just do it.
Just do it. You know. All right. Well, I suppose that's probably all we've got for Bubba Wallace. We'll move on to speaking of just doing it, spend the money, right?
Ooh.
Who's buying Rockingham Speedway?
How much are they asking for it?
Too much for us, Dan. I'm so
Okay,
glad that
well,
you thought of us.
but how much? But how much?
See, you have to inquire inside, and we're not inside.
Okay,
Oh,
Dan,
I
I'm
see.
going to go ahead
Alright.
and assume this right now. Okay. Me, you, Jordan, will get my dad in on this. Jordan's dad, Jordan's fiance. I'm going to need you to get your mom in on this, and a few other people. And we might make it on a 50-year loan deal.
I've
Might.
got a Royals baseball,
That's worth some money.
NASCAR first responder token.
That's not worth a
Ooh.
whole lot of money.
I think that's got to be actually 5% off. I think that's what that's used for.
And little Jesus. So
Okay.
I
Bryce,
think
hold
we're
on.
set. I think we're set.
With the grace,
I think
grace
so.
of God, we're getting anywhere.
I think if you just put all of those things up as collateral, they'll just give us the loan. They'll be.
I think
begging
so
us.
too. I
They'll be
think
begging
I'll
us
make a call.
to take their money.
How about that? I will make
call
a call
your guy.
tomorrow.
Yeah, call your guy.
I will
Your
call.
guy.
Okay.
Call the guy.
So if for some reason they don't take a baseball, a coin, and a little Jesus, who else do you think we're fighting in terms of buyers?
Well, I did hear through the grapevine, Greg Biffle and Cletus McFarland, but I think that could just be blowing smoke somewhere along the route. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like he doesn't have the money to just inquire on that big of a racetrack, because I'm gonna assume the asking price is upwards of 50 million. I'm just gonna go
Yeah.
ahead and assume that.
Yeah, easily.
Who do I have to guess is gonna buy it? NASCAR itself or SMI?
I'm seeing some information here. I'd like to clue y'all in on. Right.
Yeah,
This
send
is Rockingham Speedway.
What do you
we're
got?
referencing,
Yes.
correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So Rockingham Speedway was bought in 2018 for $2.8 million by Dan Levingham. Right.
Okay.
And then they just did $12 million of renovation.
Yeah, but some
Yes,
of that
that's
was
at least
public
14
money.
million.
Some of that was public.
Yes.
A lot of that I think was public actually.
So how
think-
does
I
that
think 10
influence
million.
the sell? How does that influence the sell price though?
I mean, here's
Okay.
what really influences it, to be honest with you, is that they just hosted a NASCAR race
Yeah,
successfully.
this is basically like a house flip, just a gigantic version of it.
Yeah, this is just a fix and flip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they fixed it up, right? They convinced NASCAR to show up. They sold it out for the Xfinity.
They made the money
and
off
trucks.
of that.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's a working venture, you know. So buy it while it's going well.
Hi.
Yeah.
I assume
Buy low, sell high.
SMI or NASCAR themselves will buy this racetrack.
I feel like nobody else has the kind of capital needed to buy the racetrack.
Exactly.
Aside from those two, I mean, they're just going to have the biggest offer out there. It's a shame that it can't be owned by like Cletus and Greg Biffle, but I just don't see that happening. And I don't think it's
I don't
necessarily.
either.
I don't think the asking price is 50. I do think it could be 25. You know,
We'll just have
see
to
that.
see.
which is still too much. Which is still just too much for what it is.
For a whole raceway.
With the thing,
A whole raceway, gentlemen.
here's my ideology on it. let's say you pay 50 million, Jordan. I'm just gonna go with the 50 million.
Yeah.
You buy the track.
Okay.
You probably have to put probably $1 million into it per year. Probably a little less, but I'm just gonna go with the million to keep this clean. You probably make $4 million per year. After so long, you'll make your money back
Sure,
because
but what's your
NASCAR will
interest
handle
rate?
everything. NASCAR probably has the cash to buy the flat out.
Yeah,
Are they willing to part with that much cash outright? Is the real question.
NASCAR
Not a question of
probably
do they have it,
is.
is can they afford to not have it?
Yeah, probably.
I think they probably can.
You think?
be
They're
honest with you.
they're a week to week traveling circus. Money rotates in that system like crazy.
Yeah, it would make sense for them to do it and to keep more races in the southeast corner, but it goes against what they're trying to do. If they keep saying we're trying to build NASCAR's market, we're trying to get out there, we're going to Mexico City, we're going to Chicago, we're going, it's like, are you trying to expand or not?
Well,
That's
see,
my
my
question.
big issue, and it's been brought up by Slap Shoes before. The southeast, between me right where I am, I have within a 10-hour drive of me, which I would say is the average circle for a NASCAR event, right?
Sure, 10 hours, yeah.
I have Nashville, Talladega, Atlanta, Charlotte, Bristol, Darlington, North Wilkesboro, Bowman Gray, Rockingham, Martinsville, Richmond, and Kentucky, if they bought it back. And in just over that time frame, I could get to Gateway. We are so jam packed that they're reaching the same audience over and over and over and over, and that's what causes the fake numbers at the races. Not that there's not a lot of fans; it's fans have to pick and choose their battles on which races they can go to.
Right. And I
The
mean,
average
so
family can't afford to go 3-4 week races in a year. Sometimes me and my dad are lucky because we have some good paying jobs, but it gets rough.
yeah, I mean, you really have to look for a good deal on tickets and take what you can get. I mean, you can't always get the nicest tickets to go if you're going to go that many times a year. And
Exactly.
then, you're traveling just far enough away for a hotel. So, and the weather isn't always good enough to camp it. I mean, I get it 100% where you're coming from. As far as for us being in the Dakotas, Kansas, now Iowa, which I personally dislike, and then Indy. Those are your options,
Exactly.
And I'm glad to see that they're starting to get into the Midwest. I'm glad to see that Iowa keeps selling out and that the Kansas numbers are up. It's the good signs, but don't leave that behind. What's wrong with maybe Kentucky's time to think about it again, or Chicagoland probably more realistically. But
Give me Road America.
Yeah, come back to Milwaukee. Isn't it Milwaukee?
I don't know
Wisconsin.
about Milwaukee. Give me
Come back
Road
to Wisconsin.
America.
I know it's in Wisconsin. So come back to Wisconsin. You like road courses. So
See?
yeah, it's another one of those things though. It's a date that they don't own. They don't own that track. So, but
Yeah,
sometimes
true.
for the sake of the brand, you got to do what's good for the sake of the brand. So anyway,
give me a cup race at Portland.
Ayo. That'd be pretty slick. Not gonna lie.
That'd be kind of fire.
All right. How about this penalty? So, 17 car. Where did he end up? Do you remember? I don't remember where he finished.
Third, I think.
Definitely top 5. Really, really good finish for the
Yes.
17. Only to fail inspection for the bumper cover
Really?
and the exhaust. And they appealed the penalty, and they were like, "Yep." The appeals panel said, "Yeah, the bumper cover is an issue, but the exhaust, you never specified how much exhaust they can cut." Well, they can cut the exhaust, but not too much. Well, how much is too much? As much as we say. Okay, well, that's unclear. So we're going to go ahead and give that half of the penalty back. Here's your 30 points back. So I feel like that's pretty fair. I feel like if you want to enforce something, you got to make it really specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It is
So-
fair.
So
This brings the 17 back, ironically, into position 17 in the playoffs. So he is 6 points out instead of 36 points out from pointing his way into the playoffs, assuming that there are no new drivers that win.
Should be a pretty easy lock to make it in on points.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Good form this season so far.
Yeah, as long as he keeps running the way he's running, Busher will be in, guarantee it.
Yeah, golden. He's okay.
Yeah.
Nothing to
don't-
sweat up. Nothing to sweat right now.
Just don't slip from here, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was gonna say nothing to sweat right now. Just keep an eye on it. He should be okay.
Those penalties can just like that, you're gone, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So can't afford any of those, gentlemen. All right. Kyle Busch confirms he's coming back to RCR next year. He had
Yes.
an option in his contract for 2026, and RCR is taking it. They are taking that option. Thoughts? Good? Bad? If you were Kyle, what would you have done?
Sounds like you had a good time at RCR.
Fired off
love
hot. Had the three wins in the first half of the first season. Hasn't won since. He had his very first winless season in the Cup Series.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a rough one. When you spend 2 decades in the Cup Series and you win at least one race a year, and then you don't win a race in a year. Don't get me wrong. He had close calls. He had a lot of second places,
Mhm.
but
We didn't win.
if you ain't first, you last.
Yeah. That's very true. I mean, if he
I
didn't
wonder
have,
if
if he
he
didn't
thinks
have a
the
good
writing's on the wall.
For retirement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think of his Truck Series performances. Some of them haven't been the greatest.
I mean,
We're not looking at 2018 to or 12. Well, honestly, 2022 Kyle Busch anymore.
yeah, but you got to remember which truck teams he's driving for, and he's
Well,
winning.
Spire is
He's
proven to
winning in
win.
trucks. You know, he's winning in trucks. But I feel like he won more in KBM equipment because it was the number one Toyota shop, right? And now look at who
Yeah.
the number one Toyota shop is, Tricon. And look who's winning, Tricon.
Either way, I don't know. I think the writing could be on the wall for him. I think he's trying to stick around long enough for his son to make a start or two. Not in the Cup Series specifically,
In
but
the trucks.
a national
Yeah.
series, even if it's Xfinity. I think he's just trying to limp around. I think give it a couple years, maybe we could even see him compete full time in trucks or Xfinity for a season or two. I don't put that out the realm for Kyle Busch.
I think that Kyle could drop down to trucks and stay there for a couple of years. To be honest with you,
See?
that might be what he does after this, so that he can focus more on KBM, which is still around. People are like, KBM isn't that close? No,
Yeah, it is
no,
around.
he still has KBM. It's just not in the old KBM building,
No.
and it only now builds whatever it is that Brexton needs. So if Brexton moves to a different series, KBM builds new cars for that series. If Kyle and Brexton want to race in the same series one time, they build an extra car for Kyle.
Exactly.
You know, it's still around, just not what it used to be. And people have asked too about, do you figure that they're going to do like some kind of museum? Not yet. Not anything yet. It's not.
Man, I hope it
not in the
happens.
plans.
So.
But all those cars that were on display at KBM, he still has them in his personal collection.
Good.
So I also hope that someday Kyle Busch can make his own museum, but we'll see how that
I
turns
tell
out.
you, him and Joe Gibbs need to do it together.
Honestly,
There's so many that are iconic to him.
you're only really going to have probably one other, one Chevy out of that. I mean, unless something crazy happens, you're probably only going to
Exactly.
have the Lucas Oil Chevrolet in there. His first win with RCR.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I think the writing could be on the wall for him in the Cup Series, but I don't think he's leaving the National Series for a while.
not for a while. And he's come out and said that he doesn't want to leave for a while. So,
Exactly. He just might
that's a
leave
good
the
sign.
Cup Series for a little while.
right.
Go focus on something. Go take the stress off your shoulders for a while.
For sure.
Nothing like going and beating up 18-year-olds when you're almost 40.
Well, he is 40 now. So
Exactly.
And not a good sign. Not a good sign. But I wish Kyle Busch all the best. You know, I hope things improve at RCR. I really don't feel like there was a better seat open. So I totally understand him sticking with it.
Yeah, that is true.
And we'll see how he does with Spire when that opportunity comes around for Truck Series. So speaking of the Truck Series, we're not quite there yet. Lap 4 is for ARCA. I saw the ARCA race in person at Kansas, and I'll be honest, I was a little upset. As a season ticket holder, I paid to see all of the races, all of them, and to be told that ARCA is not a NASCAR race. What are you talking about? What do you mean? It has been in the past. Every other time, all those were double headers. So I just need to buy ARCA tickets this time. So I was pretty upset. And if you go and complain to the ticket desk, they'll give you they gave me free tickets as a season ticket holder. But I was pretty upset about that, and I put it in my survey. And then on top of that, we're basically, I don't have a map handy, but we're basically on this end, and there are gates. And so at this end is gate A, B,
Okay.
C, and D, right? D is right next to the campers, like right next to them. And there's actually a tram stop at gate D, so you can get off on the tram and go into gate D if you don't want to stand in line for a long time. And if you're on that side, if you're closer to turn 1, you want to get in at gate D instead of gate A. So I've always put in my comments that I really like that gate D is an option for campers. We really appreciate it. It gets us in fast. It gets us close to our seats. This year, gate D was closed. Gate C was closed. Gate B was
The whole
closed.
weekend?
No, just for ARCA.
Okay, that is probably just the attendance thing. Remember, we deal with this in Atlanta too.
Yeah. Well, all I'm saying is make it a doubleheader then. You know, go back to the old
I
doubleheader
agree.
days. Because if it's too hard to run a speedway full bore for ARCA, then don't run a speedway full bore for ARCA. Just don't do it. You know, and that opens another day up for people to get out and about and see a Royals game or whatever else they want to do in Kansas City. Don't make it a night race, make it an afternoon race. I like that idea. So they push us all into this one section right behind the start finish line. So we get these tickets and they say general admission. Oh, and by the way, the ticket guy, the guy who I talked to for my tickets.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. So they ended
Crazy
up putting
fire.
us. All right. Well, I on the fire department get those pager tests, you know. So anyway, they ended up putting us all right behind the tickets that we got. Say general admission. So I'm like, okay, well, we'll go sit where we're going to sit for the rest of the races. Nope, you're going to sit right here because everything else has caution tape on it. So you're going to sit right
Yep.
behind start finish line. Not bad seats, but you know, a little bit disappointing that none of this was communicated. I feel like I'd have been much happier with it if I got an email that said, "Hey, we're moving ARCA to a new day. It's not included in your season ticket for whatever reason. Please explain that to me." And then only gate A is going to be open, and you're all going to sit behind the start finish line. Then I'd have been like, "All right, yeah, at least I know about it." So otherwise, good race. Was it Butterbean that won it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Butterbean took it home.
Butterbean?
Yeah,
Butterbean Queen.
Brennan Queen is his name, but he goes by Butterbean Queen, and he celebrates by going to a Waffle House.
Ooh.
Yes.
Classic.
So
We love Waffle House here on Tendigo Radio.
100% love Waffle House.
Yes,
I
we
tell
do.
you what, if I could have made it happen, I would have for us to go to the local closest Waffle House and see if we could get an interview. So if that repeats itself at the next Kansas ARCA race, we'll definitely be hunting down Butterbean Queen, see if we can get an interview with him. But yeah, so I didn't end up watching the Charlotte ARCA race, but I hear that Cletus McFarland was part of it, eh?
Yes, I didn't see much of it. I did see that he ran himself up in the second. And then on a restart, he didn't get going, and Isabella Robusto ran into him and wrecked half the field.
That sucks. You hate to see that, but it is ARCA.
He limped home to 9th, though, which there is a positive to be beheld.
That's true.
But he's going to make mistakes. He's still new, of course, but he's in a learner series, so mistakes are going to happen anyways.
Yeah.
I just wish he would commit to running a full series. Just one year, all of them.
I wonder if he wants to, but I wonder if he'd be losing money from YouTube only having to upload race videos.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But if it's your dream, you got to chase it.
Wonders. Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't know
I
if
told Dad I
it
want to see
financially makes
Cletus
sense.
run an IndyCar.
Oh my gosh, that would be crazy. I don't know if I
I
want to
said
see
I
that.
want to. I want
That
to see
sounds
him
dangerous.
rip. I want to see him rip Indy.
I want to see Cletus in an ARCA car at a race that I go to. I want to be able to listen to him on the
He's
scanner.
gonna
That'd
be
really
at
fun.
Bristol, and if I can make it work, which I probably won't be able to, I'm gonna see him.
Ah man,
Mm.
that hurts because I would love to be there, but I can't make this year's Bristol night race. Yeah,
Nope, you can't.
I can't make it happen, brother.
I'm barely being able to make the Speedway Classic happen.
Yeah,
Excited for that. Really excited.
that should be fun. I'm looking at my NASCAR was kind enough for the thousands of dollars that I spend to send me a postcard with all the races on it. So that's what I'm looking at over here. But I suppose we'll move on from ARCA, yeah?
All right.
Yeah, I think we touched everything there.
All right. So trucks. 2 races in North Carolina, 1 in Kansas. Truck race in Kansas was really cool. Watching Carson Hocevar come back, we listened to him on the radio, and they started him out with, all right, get out there and school these boys and girl. And it went well. I think, he ended up winning, had some back and forth there with Lane Riggs right at the end.
Yeah.
So I didn't catch the truck race though at Charlotte because we were still in Indy, and you were too.
Yeah. I didn't catch a drop of it. I don't even think
Dan?
I know who won.
Yes.
Was it Corey Heim? Dan, who were you watching?
Watching what?
The truck race in Charlotte.
No, I'm sorry. I was not watching the truck
No,
race in
that's-
Charlotte.
You're good.
So you're like, are you watching? I was like, I didn't.
What are we talking about? Yeah, Corey Heim won it in Charlotte, and Chandler Smith won at North Wilkesboro. I did watch that race. That was a lot of fun.
I watched the first part of the race, I think. I watched Indy qualifying over that.
Corey Heim was supposed to win that in a really cool Mobile One paint scheme. And I was like, yo, if he wins, I'm gonna buy that. And Chandler Smith must have heard me and was like, hold my water bottle. I'll be right back. So we'll see Nashville. Hopefully I'll have some good truck racing, eh?
Hopefully.
And with any luck, you'll be there.
Yes.
That'll be a lot of fun. All right. Well, I suppose that's our segment on trucks. How about Xfinity at Charlotte?
I didn't watch it, but Xfinity is the best series. It's better than Cup Series.
Hey, I can praise God. Praise Dale. There. Sadly, I was at a Cincinnati Reds game about the time this was happening.
Hey, I was also at that Cincinnati Reds game in the same row as you were.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we honestly
I
didn't get a lick of Xfinity racing in, and I honestly haven't even gotten a chance to really watch the recap. But I do have. We're not sponsored by Lionel yet. Lionel, if you're watching, hit me up. But I did get this car in the mail, and so I'll ask you, gentlemen, if you recognize it at all.
Describe it.
It's a gold 21 car, Bennett.
No.
It's got the confetti on it.
Oh.
It's hard to see
anniversary.
in the camera. It's hard to see in the camera.
I know. 50th anniversary of Bennett Transportation.
Is that the one is that the race Wendy saw?
Yeah, we were there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bodega or was it Atlanta?
Atlanta.
Okay.
And he
Yeah,
won it.
I know which one.
Yeah. So pretty cool to get.
Dude, I hate Austin Hill.
Austin Hill's win car in.
I hate Austin Hill, and I really hate the fact that I always have to see him win.
Yeah, well, I was glad to see him win, so I guess the audience was torn on that one. Just kidding.
I don't like him.
The audience
he
didn't like him
wins.
either.
Mm-hmm.
He wins. We'll give him credit for that.
The rule for Dan, if it's not Reese's, he's not a fan.
That's not entirely true at all. Okay.
Okay.
I'd be repping Menards. I'd be repping all kinds of different cars. I just, what I'm saying. They just happened to have a Reese car when we were at Texas, and that happened to be a really good race.
Give me a Love's travel stop car any day of the week.
Love's
100%.
Stop.
Yeah. Love's makes some pretty cool paint schemes. And I like stopping at Love's. Our entire drive back.
Exactly.
We were like, we're at a quarter tank. Is there a Love's coming up? I don't know. We'd just be driving along and I'm like, oh, I spy with my little eye a red heart in the sky. Love's,
Exactly.
give us a call. We could be the official
would
travel
you say
stop.
that? So here's the thing. I know that they're not in the sport, right? But where does
They are.
Love's rank in? No. I'm not. Hold on. Let me get there. Where does Love's rank compared to Bucky's in your mind?
Oh, Bucky's not in the
It's
sport.
second to Bucky's in my opinion.
I concur.
No, I
No?
don't concur. I do not concur.
I think you're just wrong.
Because Bucky's is not everywhere I go. Love's
But it's the
Love's
primary
is so
experience.
close to home. I have a Love's within an hour and a half, 2 hours. I mean, Bucky's, they don't like us in the Midwest.
That's what makes it special when you do get to go to a Bucky's.
No, it doesn't, because then I talk
anticipation.
I talk with my coworkers about it. I talk with my family about it, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
He's crazy for Bucky's.
Yeah, these beaver nuggets, bro.
I like
Pour through all of them.
I like
Crack
Bucky's.
sauce itself.
Anytime we can stop at a Bucky's, we do. But Love's is number one because they're everywhere.
Here's what I got to say. There's a way I go with this. If there's a Bucky's, I'm stopping there. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just go ahead and put that out. If there's not, it goes to Love's. But if there's a Pilot, I will stop at a Pilot as well. Pilot always has some cool stuff to look around and just see.
Huh. I don't much like Pilot. I'd try my best to get to Love's.
Pilot,
maybe I'm a little
you
too
have
loyal.
to watch yourself a little bit. Love's is a safer option, of course.
For sure.
But I've never had an issue at Pilot.
I just go to the one that, like, when I get off the highway, I don't have to go across the bridge.
That's the
like,
one.
Like the one when you pull off on the right, and it's the one you turn into immediately when you get up the off ramp.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is where I go. I don't care if it's Love's, Pilot. It could be a fucking come and go.
All right, gentlemen. All right. I hate to break up the discussion, but we have 6 minutes to discuss one of the greatest races we've seen in a while. We talked a little bit earlier about Prime and their great coverage. I feel like it's marvelous to have the race covered in 1080p and have such sharp graphics. And we actually use real graphics and not cartoon characters of the race car drivers. Mm-hmm. What do you think of the Coke 600? I was only able to listen to it on the drive home, not watch it. But
that's my thing. And I have some bad news too to that. I fell asleep with 6 to go.
Oh,
and no. Me and Dad also ate during the entire second stage.
Well, as far as for us, we were driving home, and PRN does a great job. Performance Racing Network does an awesome job of coverage.
Yes, they do.
We were able to just see the race in our mind. And I was rooting so hard for Ross Chastain. My fiance is a big Ross Chastain fan. And oh my gosh, it was so awesome to hear that he won the Coke 600. It was so special to come from 40th to first. That hasn't been done since 1969. in a backup car, nonetheless. You know, they had to work through the night. Trackhouse staff was working on a car through the night to get it ready to get it out there. And I was so nervous, to be honest with you. I was so nervous to hear whether it passed inspection, but thank goodness it did.
I have a great one.
Yeah.
So me and my dad, of course, have been to the Indy 500 2 times, 2022 and 2025 now. Both years that has occurred. One of the greatest Coke 600s in the history of NASCAR has been ran.
Yeah.
So me and Dad are eyeing the Coke 600 next year. And we're
That could be kinda
wondering I'm wondering if the Indy 500 will be great.
Dan, you got any good flights out to Charlotte?
I don't imagine it would be too expensive for me to get out to Charlotte.
I thought that there was like somebody that flies from your airport to Charlotte pretty often.
I would
Maybe
say
not.
it's probably nonstop.
We'll have to look into this. We might have to go to the Coke 600 together next year, gentlemen.
Yeah, we do need to
And-
put another trip together. We're behind.
We got to get our in-person intro. You're listening to Tennego Radio. Now, right now, we've got Ross Chastain covering for us, but at some point, we
And
got to
we're
get
To get the
together.
boys.
Yeah,
Well,
we got to
I'm
get
also
together and get our own
wondering-
intro.
You know, we'll talk about this off camera.
All right. Well, I suppose we are almost at the top of the hour here, so we'll let you go. We're putting it in neutral for now. We'll catch you next time from our corner of the country to yours. This has been Tennego Radio.
Bye.